I've got some important USC news to talk about. You better stay tuned.
You are Locked On Trojans, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Marc, and thank you for making Locked On USC your first listen every day. Whether you're watching on YouTube or wherever you download your podcast, we are free. We appreciate your support, and I hope you're enjoying the show. If you're watching on YouTube, you have an opportunity to become a subscriber for free. There's that button. Go ahead and click it. And you can also, if you like the show, do me a favor, hit that like button. Both features mean a whole heck of a lot. All right, so now that I have your attention, big news. USC has started spring camp. It's officially open, and also got some recruiting news to go over with you. But first, Lincoln Riley has began his second spring camp with the University of Southern California. And guess what? There was nobody from the media there to report on it. So what? Now what? To coin the phrase, look, what are we going to find out? Well, no one's there to tell you how big someone looked or how much so-and-so grew during the offseason. There's no one there to pick up any crumbs, notes, observations as the players make their way from the McKay Center, where they get dressed, to the Howard Jones practice field. But I still got you covered. That doesn't mean there still isn't a bunch of stuff to talk about. Even though I'm not there physically to see any of this, nobody from the media has been invited for the first two practices. But there is still news. For instance, there's been a position change. Carson Tabarachi making the move before he even played a down of linebacker at USC. Well, with Josh Follow moving on, and apparently Ethan Ray, he didn't appear on the spring roster. I'm going to assume he's medically retired. Carson Tabarachi is moving to tight end. It just shows what kind of athlete and how versatile he is. He came to Utah as a running back. So maybe offense is in his future. We'll find out. As I mentioned, the spring prospectus was released just ahead of Sunday's first practice. There's going to be 15 total, including the spring huddle, the Trojan Huddle spring football game in April. But on that perspective, all the new numbers for the New Jersey for the players who just arrived were mentioned. So all the guys who came in through the transfer portal, they now have their new numbers, as well as the new freshmen. Now, I had created some intrigue during the offseason surrounding one specific jersey number. I kept bringing that up for discussion, but all those numbers I just mentioned a moment ago, those were released. And it looks like there's going to be two players wearing the number 13 before it's officially retired. So in 2023, two players will be wearing Caleb Williams' Heisman-winning jersey number 13. Obviously, Caleb will be wearing it, but there will be one player on defense wearing it as well. We can also talk about how much weight Caleb added. I've been mentioning that a couple times last week on a couple of episodes. So here's what we would have learned in those first couple of days of practice that the media will not be able to attend because they're just going to be in shorts and shells. So I started to point out Devin Tompkins, his physical development towards the end of last year. One day I saw him walking from McKay to Howard Jones going to practice, and I was like, whoa, that dude got big overnight. Well, my eyes weren't lying, because he's now officially listed by USC at 6'5", 260 pounds, and that's 30 pounds more than when he arrived at USC. So that makes him a big boy. He's also listed now as a defensive lineman and away from the rush end group. Riley specifically spoke about him in January at our meet and greet, a little roundtable session we had, as being one of the guys he and the staff were extremely happy with, and his progression since he's gotten to USC. Others who have made additions to their bodies during the offseason. How about redshirt safety Zion Branch? He got bigger by 10 pounds. He is now 6'2", 210 pounds. His mentor at safety, Kalen Bullock, he's been asked to add weight. Well, he is. He's now up 10 pounds to 190, and which is good. He needed to make that a priority during this offseason. I'm still of the opinion he needs to get over 200 pounds. Whether or not he can carry that weight, I don't know, but it would behoove him to add on at least another 10 pounds. Linebacker Rajon Davis, he added 15. He's now up to 225 pounds. His fellow linebacker Garrison Madden, he also added another 15. He's up to 215 pounds, so he arrived at 200. He stands at 6'3". There's others who joined the 15-pound plus club. Andres DeWerk, offensive lineman, he's now at 325. Gino Quinones, he's now bulked up to 300. And tight end, Lake McCree, 6'4", 245. Intriguing prospect. Oh, redshirt freshman, Nickelback, Fabian Ross. He added up to 20 pounds, apparently. He's now at 205 pounds. So you added 20 pounds in 1 year. Now, obviously, some of that happens naturally, but it doesn't seem like he missed a meal, which was great, because the last time I saw him, he looked really undersized. So there are a bunch of other guys who gained weight also during the offseason. Michael Jackson III, he picked up 10 pounds. He's now at 210. Solomon Tuliaupupu, he's now up to 250. I mentioned that before. I think he's going to be strictly defensive line. I don't think he's going to be playing rush end. We'll find out, though. Anthony Beavers, another safety. He's up to 210 pounds. And Eric Gentry, who, by the way, probably is going to be out of action for at least the next 4 to 5 months after his surgery. He picked up 5 pounds. He's now tipping the scales at 210. Wow. So back to jersey numbers. Number 0, Corey Foreman. He's keeping that number, but he's also making a position switch. He will not be playing rush end. He's going to put his hand in the dirt, and he is playing defensive end. So that experiment is over. He's moving into Sean Nua's doghouse. He's going to make him. He's going to make him or break him, one of the two. And what's interesting, though, is he's trimmed down to 235 pounds, to 6'4", 235. So we'll see what happens at that defensive end spot, because Tyrone Taleni, he's also down 10 to 270. And I'll bring up Justin Dietrich. They got him just a tick under 300 at 295. So let's go over these jersey numbers real fast. Number 0, I mentioned Corey Foreman's keeping it. On offense, though, it's available. So Marshawn Lloyd, running back, he's taking it over Terrell Bynum's number. Anthony Lucas will be wearing number 6. He wore number 8 at Texas A&M, but Zion Branch is already wearing number 8 at USC. Oh, by the way, Anthony Lucas, he now stands 6'5", 295 pounds, according to USC. It's a big boy. Number 10, Jameel Muhammad, 6'1", 240 pounds, rush end. He's the reason he's wearing number 10 is Rajon Davis wears number 9, and that's what he wore at Georgia State. Well, guess what? Raylan Goforth made that number 10 available. He's going to slide right into there. I mentioned number 13 is going to have 2 guys wearing that jersey number this year. We know Caleb has it. Mason Cobb has given up number 0 and will be the Caleb Williams on defense, we hope. That number became available because Adonis Odie's name did not appear on the spring roster. I'm going to assume he is another medical retirement. But this will be Mason's 3rd jersey number since he's been in college. He wore number 38 when he got to Oklahoma State. He switched to number 0. And at USC, he will now wear number 13. And again, that jersey number will be retired once Caleb leaves because he won the Heisman. Wide receiver Dorian Singer. He's going to be rocking Drake London's old number 15. That'll be cool. Number 17, Christian Roland Wallace at cornerback. Your punter, kicker, Eddie Zlopicki. He's going to rock number 37. He wore number 38 while he was at Arizona State. Jarrett Kingston, offensive lineman. He's going to be wearing number 52. Oh, by the way, he's tipped the scales 6'4", 300 pounds. Not bad. Michael Tarquin, offensive lineman, offensive tackle. He's going to wear jersey number 71. Now, what's interesting about that, his father-in-law, Tony Baselli, Trojan stud, offensive lineman, Hall of Famer, he wore number 71 at USC. Oh, and he tips the scales at 6'5", 310 pounds. Not bad. He's going to be battling for that right tackle spot. Cooper Lovelace. So he's moving to number 62. He took over that number with Brett Nealon moving on to the NFL, hopefully. I think he's going to get drafted. So now, again, 71 with Cooper opening that jersey number up for Mr. Michael Tarquin. Kyan Bars is going to wear number 92, same number he wore at Arizona. Oh, Jack Sullivan, number 99. He's taken over Nick Figueroa's jersey number. And he actually has the same measurables, same size, height and weight as Nick. 6'5", 275. Okay. The early enrollee freshman, Zachariah Branch. He's going to be wearing jersey number 1 at wide receiver. I don't know if he's going to be as big as BMW, but hey, he's wearing that number 1 jersey. He's definitely not as big as Patrick Turner, excuse me. Usually number 1 went to that bigger wide receiver. We'll see what happens. Malachi Nelson. He'll wear number 8 on the offensive side of the ball. And that's because Miller Moss wears number 7. That was Malachi's number at Los Alamitos, number 7. Number 21 on offense, Quentin Joyner, running back. Number 24, Makai Lemon, wide receiver. Interesting. You don't see too many wide receivers at USC wearing that wide receiver numbers in the 20s. So there you go. On the opposite side of the ball, playing defense, Christian Pierce will rock number 24. He's taken over Julian Simon's number. Taka Curtis, linebacker, number 25. He can't wear number 4, the number he wore in high school. That's because Max Williams will be wearing number 4 on defense. On offense, Marion Peterson will wear number 27, running back. He can't wear his old number 22 because Darwin Barlow currently wears that number. Maliki Crawford will wear number 29 at cornerback. And then Sam Green, number 44. He's playing rush end. Okay. Be interesting to see him coming off the edge wearing the double 4. And then Elijah Page, number 72, offensive lineman. He's taken over the number that Andrew Voorhees wore, All-American, who, by the way, real quick note, Andrew Voorhees suffered what appears to be a knee injury at the combine. Man, more and more players, I think, are going to stop working out, doing these things, and just they're going to go there. They're going to do the broad jump. They're going to do, the types of testing that doesn't require a lot of strain and save that stuff for pro day. Got a feel for Andrew Voorhees going down. Hopefully, it's nothing serious and it doesn't affect his draft status. So, who was missing? Well, there were 33 players who are not on the 2023 roster that were on the 2022 roster. Of those include players who used up their eligibility, in other words, going to the NFL, or just no longer college eligible, or have entered the transfer portal. And so, of those with eligibility and who returned that did not make a formal announcement, USC, you won't see the names Ethan Ray, I mentioned him, Caden Stephen, and cornerback Adonis Odie. I'm going to assume each of those players medically retired. So there it is. Spring camp is official. It's started. The roster is set. If I didn't mention a name, it's because they're not in spring camp. So if I didn't mention Ethan White's number and his weight, because he's not on the spring camp roster. I will tell you this, the transfer portal will be open again May 1st. Not mentioning any names. What I will mention is Built Bar. Because if you're looking for a delicious treat, but you don't want all that fat and calories, then you gotta try a Built Bar. Because if you're like me and you want to eat something healthier, but you don't want to compromise taste, I got something for you. You got to try Built. With Built, healthy is actually tasty. Seriously, these things are really good. You won't even think they're supposed to be good for you because they just taste great. And what makes Built so good? Well, for number one, they're made with 100% real chocolate. I'll eat pretty much anything with real chocolate. Almost anything. And they come in some other really cool flavors like churro, peanut butter brownie, and coconut almond. I'm not sure how Built does it, but they make their stuff taste like a candy bar, and they do it while maintaining what they call all of those great, amazing macros. You get only 130 calories. You're only going to get 4 grams of sugar, but you are going to get a whopping 17 grams of protein. And now you don't even have to go wait around for a box. You don't have to order them on Built.com. If you're near a Sam's Club or a Walmart, you're in luck. That's right. Head to your nearest Walmart, walk to the pharmacy section, and grab yourself a box of Built Bars. You can pick up a 4-bar box of their cookies and cream, their double chocolate, or their coconut puffs. And if you're near Sam's Club, run in, grab a 13-bar box of their hit flavors, brownie batter, or churro. Those sound like really cool flavors. Tell me about them. Thank me later. I want to thank everybody for making Locked on USC their first listen every single day. I want to make sure you're checking out our brand new podcast, Locked on College Basketball. They have everything you need to know about college basketball all in one place. And you're going to hear it from big name experts, insiders, coaches, and the players. Locked on College Basketball, available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. All right, I told you at the beginning of the show I had some big news. We talked about spring camp. I got a recruiting news roundup over the weekend. USC hosted, well, I shouldn't say they hosted. There was approximately 50 plus guys on campus throughout the weekend. Among them, you had 2024 defensive lineman Davian Sims. You had Gardena Sarah, defensive back Dakota Field, modern day cornerback Xavier Brown. How about 4-star wide receiver Ryan Pelham from Long Beach Millikan High School? USC actually offered him back in 2021 with Clay Helton, but they're trying to get back in, I won't say his good graces, but they're making a push for him. let's just say USC is not leading for his recruitment right now. There was also a huge, big 7-on-7 event down in Tustin, California. That's in Orange County for all of you who aren't familiar with the Southern California landscape. WRSC's Scott Schrader and Eric McKinney were there, so they got you covered. But you're going to have to head on over to the WRSC site for their VIP stuff. Nothing major, but still some interesting recruiting angles to follow. Now, what I can tell you, some players who were at USC over the weekend, one in particular, I know this is going to have everybody's attention. You listening? Good. 2024. Number one recruit in the country, not just quarterback. Number one recruit, Dylan Raiola. He was on campus. He spent a lot of time with Lincoln Riley. And so while he didn't get the college basketball VIP treatment like he did in Lincoln, Nebraska, he did have a fantastic time hanging out at USC with Lincoln Riley. So while everyone, kind of gets their knickers, their panties in a bunch whenever they hear about, Nebraska and Georgia making Dylan feel special, try and remember this. Raiola is going to be in Southern California a lot more often than he'll be in Nebraska or Georgia or Oregon, for that matter, because he works out with they're called 3D quarterback. So he's going to be around USC's campus a lot, and don't think Lincoln Riley and his peoples won't take advantage of that. Oh, Dylan's in town this weekend, huh? Maybe we can get him on campus for a day, for a couple hours. Let's talk to him. That works to USC's advantage. And just because he didn't make it to the basketball game, as I mentioned, he did hang out. Well, he spent most of his time exclusively with Lincoln. And since he's gotten home back to Arizona, the momentum seems to have swung back in USC's favor with some commitment predictions. So if you believe in crystal balls, good news. I was talking with someone who hangs out in the high school quarterback developing circles. And this individual said that neither Dylan Raiola or Malachi Nelson, for that matter, consider Miller Moss their competition in 2024. That person told me that both of those young men would be making a mistake. But, he wanted to be very clear that neither one of them were putting Miller down. The bigger point, the larger point is these quarterbacks, these elite quarterbacks, they're not worried about who they're going to be competing against. And in this particular case, this unique situation where Miller's name was brought up, it's because he's not going to have the game experience that your typical freshman or Malachi Nelson, redshirt freshman are concerned about. Caleb Williams is going to play in 2023. Miller Moss is going to be fighting for that starting spot in 2024. But he's got a leg up on the two freshmen, assuming Dylan Raiola commits to USC. He's been in the system for a few years. So don't think Lincoln Riley won't be very aware of that as well. But wouldn't it be cool if, let's say Dylan makes his commitment sometime at the end of March, and then Deuce Robinson makes his announcement in April? Both are currently at Pinnacle High School in Arizona. In other recruiting news, linebacker Jordan Lockhart from Bosco has officially decommitted from Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. And the offers just continue to roll in for the Bosco stud. Yeah. Jordan Lockhart, St. John, Bosco, USC backyard. I mentioned that there could be a flip recently. Yeah, there it is. But he's been getting a lot of offers, and this is why he officially decommitted, because now he's become a really hot commodity. The SEC is all over him. Texas A&M is throwing offers at him. I know Nick Saban in Alabama. Tennessee just offered. And all this started when USC became really interested in his services. So we'll keep you updated on that. But again, we're just getting into the heat of the recruiting season for the 2024 class. 7-on-7 is really kicking into gear. You've got the lineman camps that are going on. So a lot of recruiting will be coming up during this offseason. And again, spring camp is in effect. They practice again on Tuesday, and then the media gets to show up on Wednesday the 8th, and then they're off for spring break until the 21st. All right. There you go. Spring camp, recruiting. Did I get your attention? Did I give you everything you need to know so far? Let me keep you intrigued one more day, one more segment. So here you go. Caleb Williams was the most intriguing guy of spring camp. We talked about the 19 other players. We actually talked about 20 other players when Eric Gentry went down with his offseason surgery. But Caleb Williams is by far the most intriguing guy going into spring camp 2023. I mentioned, earlier the other guys, their new official, jersey numbers and their measurables. I talked about last week how Caleb Williams looked bigger. Well, he is officially. He's 5 pounds heavier. He's now 6'1", 220 pounds. He looks like a tank or a linebacker. So let me put his size into context. Mason Cobb is 6 foot even, 230 pounds. Caleb Williams, 6'1", 220. Why is Caleb Williams so intriguing besides gaining 5 pounds and looking like he could play on both sides of the ball? Well, for one, he won the Heisman as a sophomore. He led the nation in touchdown passes with 42. He added another 10 running the ball, and he finished third in the nation with 4,537 yards passing. And this is what he wants to do in 2023. Number one, if he comes even close to repeating those types of numbers, he's going to win the Heisman again. And that'll be the first player since Archie Griffin, Ohio State Buckeye, back in the mid-'70s to go back-to-back. Now, here's what makes Caleb so interesting and so intriguing. Besides chasing those numbers, how's he going to approach this season knowing that he's worth an estimated between an $8 to $10 million? That's his net worth right now when you consider his NIL deals. Leading up to the Super Bowl, he was doing the talk show circuit, he was on Radio Row, TV, yada, yada, yada. He was asked about his 42 touchdown to 5 interception ratio that he had in 2022. And he said, I want to have a 0 interception for a year. And he was being a little facetious, obviously. Because he also said he wants to have a couple of games where he throws for a 100% completion percentage. So is he going to be check down Cody? In other words, is he going to play it safe? Probably not. If you don't risk it, there's no biscuit. He also said he wants to surpass his touchdown numbers. That would be impressive if he could make that happen. I mean, if he can go for 60 touchdowns. That's going to be 8 more than the 52 he had total. And he says he wants to throw for 5,000 yards. You're not going to throw for 5,000 yards checking down, being safe and conservative. So there you go. Caleb Williams. He's got a lot on his plate. Number one, he knows that he's got this year to lead USC to the promised land. And by the promised land, I'm talking about the playoffs. And the whole world is going to be watching him. So how's he going to handle all this new added pressure? We saw how he handled it last year. It's going to pick up exponentially, tenfold. How does he handle it his junior year, knowing the NFL's on his horizon? There's going to be a lot of storylines coming out of spring camp. I'm going to keep you covered. Thanks again for making Locked On USC your first listen every day. Make sure to check out Locked On College Basketball. You're going to hear from all the insiders, players, coaches. USC starts their Pac-12 tournament this Thursday. They're going to be playing 8:30 p.m. They're going to be playing the winner of the number 4 game. I think that's between Washington State and Arizona State, I believe. I'm not sure. Or Washington State. Go check it out. Check out the brackets. The game will tip off sometime 8:30 p.m. Thursday for you college basketball fans. I will be back with another episode of Locked On USC because I come at you 5 times a week. So until then, you know what to do.